Welcome to the Indian Newslink podcast series Coffee with Kamil by Kamil Lakshman.
Once again, welcome to Coffee with Kamil. I don't know if you've noticed an increasing trend, which probably always happened, but it wasn't that prevalent as it appears to be now. And that is the narrative that you hear. I call it the power of the narrative. The other day I heard somebody talk about something, and they used the word, they conveyed something, and it was a particular way of conveying. And because I knew that particular script that they were talking about, I was quite fascinated, because what they said was, on the face of it, factually okay, but it was incorrect. And it was incorrect because they had used a word that gave it a completely different meaning from what was in the text. And if you knew no better, you would accept it, because why would you doubt it? The person saying it has authority. The person, therefore, must be saying it correctly, and that must be what is written in that script. And therefore, because you've heard it, that becomes your truth, because you have no reason to doubt it. And then it just goes on. You go and talk to somebody else about it, and then relay it as that's what that script or text says, and that other person thinks you know, and it just goes on and on and on. Now, the reason why this is important is because it forms opinions, and then the opinions then determine action or reaction, and then it becomes truth. Now, this is what we are seeing more and more. Why? Because we are privy to more of these narratives. Why? Because social media is more accessible to a lot more people, and that is the kind of narratives you hear day in and day out, and it becomes the truth. Whereas if you were to dissect it, it's fake, it's false, it's not true. It's not true at all. There's nothing true about it. But that is your truth, and based on your truth, you make certain decisions. We see these and this is just so common in elections, and how governments are formed, how decisions are made about who to vote for, and it's just mind-blowing. It's such a huge problem, because you have made a decision based on what you think was truth, and you have not bothered to investigate it, research it, or go to the source document. And I suppose, why should you? Why should you have to? Why can you not take what is being said as the truth, the gospel truth? Well, the reality is that more and more that we are, the information that we are surrounded by cannot be relied upon. But because there is so much information around us, we don't have the time to go and check it. So it's overdose of information, and because it is overdose of information, there's a filtering going on in order to cope with it. And that filtering makes us somewhat lazy, in the sense that we don't have the time or the resources or the inclination to go and check it out. But it is really, really a big problem, because the decision that you are making, which is based sometimes on false information, can have major consequences down the line. Major consequences in terms of the policy that is being made by, if we were to talk about governments, elections, and who you voted for, that is completely contrary to what you would have voted for if you actually understood what actually is happening, or actually happened, or actually was going to happen. You would have never voted like that. And similarly, what you eat, the information that is put out about something, which is really bad for you, but because of the narrative that you hear, the angle that is put on it, and lies, complete lies, if you were to dissect it, then it affects your health. Then you get illnesses, or the kinds of, it's just massive. And with this new age of AI, not sure where that is taking us. And all I can think of is the narrative is going to get worse. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we get more discerning of what's presented to us, and become more alert, and become aware of this issue, and become more vigilant about what it is that we are listening to, watching, or putting, or being privy to, and being aware that this is an issue and that we have to pay more attention to. Otherwise, it seems that society will probably be going down down a spectrum of becoming quite dull because of this overconsumption of information, and being taken for a ride, and not having that ability to have that silent mind, which it can discern what is right and what is wrong, what is to be believed and what is not to be believed. Because the question to be asked is there really a choice? How do we protect ourselves? How do we protect ourselves from this new evil, I say, this narratives that surround us? How do we? And it's a challenge that is facing society at large, and something that will increasingly become a thing to watch out for. Where it'll go, I have no idea, but it is of concern, in my opinion. So next time you hear something, pause and have fun. Test it out. Go to the source and see the narrative that you are being fed, in fact, is correct. It may be, it may be not. You may be pleasantly surprised that it's not. But given what I've seen so far, it's more than likely to be not as it is conveyed. Thank you for listening to Coffee with Kamil. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to the Indian Newslink podcast series Coffee with Kamil by Kamil Lakshman.